So we've got a brief break in the proceedings here after the House managers have presented part of their closing arguments. We believe that they've still got some time to go, and then we're going to hear closing arguments from the president's attorneys. We understand, I am told, that there will likely be a vote whether to convict or acquit the president sometime this afternoon. Could come as early as 3, maybe later in the afternoon. Let's go back to Chad Pergram. He's live at the Capitol on what is going on right now. Chad?
Well, this was kind of a little bit of an unexpected turn of events. There was an argument here, and you might remember a couple of nights ago, Mike Lee contested some of the things that House impeachment managers said about him in this phone call with Tommy Tuberville, the Republican senator from Alabama, and the president trying to get a hold of Tuberville and Lee's phone and vice versa. It was pretty confusing, and Lee was pretty upset about that. Lee again contesting what is going on the floor right now. Here's the problem. You might have heard Senator Leahy, who's presiding over the trial, saying that debate is not in order. The reason is that, if you were operating as the usual Senate, you could make a point of order saying the Senate is not operating properly. You could appeal the ruling of the chair. You could make a motion. But this is an impeachment trial. The Senate is sitting as a court of impeachment, and therefore those rules do not apply in these circumstances. The Senate voted overwhelmingly to approve the framework for this trial, and it says that you are into these closing arguments right now by the impeachment managers and coming up soon, the defense counsel, and therefore anything that Mike Lee wants to do just doesn't apply in this circumstance. In fact, somebody could probably argue that they shouldn't even be in a quorum call at this stage because, again, it doesn't apply for this. You heard at one point one of the president's attorneys jump up and object like you would in a regular courtroom. Again, that doesn't apply in these circumstances. This is not a regular courtroom. This is the United States Senate. And what Senator Leahy was saying, that's an issue we can address later, or you can address it in your closing remarks coming up. So they have to sort out this issue with Senator Mike Lee from Utah in the next couple of minutes. But again, to do a reset, we're going to continue to hear from the impeachment managers making their closing arguments. They've put out this fire about witnesses that has been entered into the record, the statement by Jamie Herrera Butler, the Republican congresswoman from Washington State. And then we will hear from the president's defense counsel, and sometime later this afternoon, the next actual vote should be an up or down vote on the guilt or innocence of the former president of the United States.
And Chad, we got a little more clarity on how that whole thing went down in terms of calling witnesses. Senator Lindsey Graham stepped out of the chamber to give me a quick call and run me through it. He said that at about 11 o'clock last night, he got a call in which he was told that there would not be any witnesses. And he said fine to that. And then apparently this article containing the statement from Congresswoman Herrera Butler started gaining a lot of traction. And the House managers looked and said, maybe we've got the president's legal team on the ropes here. Let's pummel them just a little bit more. So this morning, in a conference call, the Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer was told that the left wing of the party was putting a lot of pressure on senators to allow witnesses, and that's when Raskin came forward about an hour later and said, we'd like to call at least one witness, Herrera Butler, and maybe some others. After that all happened, and pandemonium, as Senator Ted Cruz of Texas put it, ensued. Lindsey Graham floated the idea of, okay, so let's just stipulate that we can put this statement from Herrera Butler that was circulating last night into the record. It's news that had been out there for at least a number of days. The Congresswoman attested to that herself. Lindsey Graham considered it to be hearsay evidence. And there was not an acknowledgement that it was true, just that they were going to enter the statement into the record. And so that compromise was struck, and the statement was entered into the record. Republicans do really believe, though, that the Democrats, Chad, overplayed their hand here, because they went out there and they forced a vote on witnesses and then had to walk it back. So does that really leave them, I don't want to say at a disadvantage, but with a little bit of egg on their face at the very least?
Well, it kind of cuts two ways. First of all, it was interesting to see a Democratic aide close to the impeachment process put out a statement, and the verb that was used in the statement was that they got the Republicans to concede that they should admit this evidence here, just so they could put that into the record and have senators consider that as part of the overall trial record before the vote. So that was an important statement there. But again, I look at the language being very important. And again, don't forget about the political consequences here and the political pressures, especially that the Democrats are feeling. They have a narrow majority. There are a lot of Democrats on the left who would like to go to the mat with President Trump. There's others who are like, okay, this doesn't serve our purposes. We want to get on to coronavirus aid, and we want to deal with maybe other issues like immigration or working out infrastructure or something like that. This just continues to be a problem. You have a divided Democratic Party here, and so these are the trying to walk in both sides of the street here that Chuck Schumer and frankly Jamie Raskin, the hand that they're trying to play.
Stay with us, Chad, as I know you will. Right now, let's turn to a member of former President Trump's